Hey, what's up everybody? Season 3 of Dragonflight is finally here. How is your start of the season? Did you score some big IO? One of the new dungeons of the season is Galakrond's Fall. In my opinion, the better part of Dawn of the Infinite dungeon. This is a quick guide on how to success this dungeon. Let's start. At the start of Galakrond's Fall, you will face 3 types of mobs. Infinite Chrono Weaver, they channel Chrono Melt, which deals an arcane damage every 0.5 seconds for 8 seconds and also reduce movement by 50%. Make sure you interrupt this channel. Infinite Time Slicer cast Tempo Slice on your tank, increasing damage taken by 15% on every successful strike. Try to stop it to make your tank's life easier. Epic Creeper teleports on the player's location and starts spinning. Make sure you move from the hitbox. After those specs, you reach the first boss of the dungeon, Chroniker. Make no mistakes, it's a she. Sand Stomp is a debuff on all group, drop it near the walls to maximize space. The boss casts Eon Shatter, she leaps on 2 players one by one, it leaves behind a pool you need to soak. Watch the vortex after she lands. Chrono Shear is a strike on her target, which deals physical damage and big healing absorb on the target. You cannot dispel this dot and it must be healed. When you finish this boss, you arrive to the next boss area. You have to open all the portals before the boss appears, and while you do it, you will face few types of mobs. Coalesce Time casts Infinite Bolt Volley you should interrupt. He also casts Chrono Burst on 2 players. It needs to be dispelled or move from the group when it's about to detonate. Temporal Deviation and Temporal Fusion cast double and triple strike on the tank. Time Stream Leech cast Innervate. If you fail to interrupt it, it becomes immune to interrupt effects. Coalesced Moment cast Infinite Bolt and Tainted Sands. Try to interrupt when you can to mitigate damage. The last mob of the area is Time Stream Anomaly. He casts Bloom, a dispellable dot on the tank. When you get damage from the dot, it also applies to the next party member. Make sure you heal or fast dispel. Untwist is a frontal cone on the tank. Make sure you stand behind the mob so you don't get hit. When you open the portals, you will face the second boss, Manifested Time Waves. This fight is based around the 2 zones of the boss. The bright zone is the accelerating time. You get damage every 1 second but gain 30% movement speed. The dark zone is decaying time. You get damage every 3 seconds and gain 20% reduced damage taken. When the boss casts Fragments of Time, he shoots orbs from the middle outwards. The idea is to move between the fast and slow zone without getting hit. Chrono Faded is a dot for 8 seconds on 2 players. You should drop it in the accelerating zone to avoid mechanic. After this boss, you enter the portal to face Infinite Infiltrator. He casts Infinite Fury, a wide damage AoE, and Timeless Curse, stunning and damaging players who get hit from the drops on the floor. You trigger this mob when you walk on the bridge. You can skip it if you go as a group and pass it. If you fail, you can choose to fight or sacrifice the players in combat and rest them after they die. Next is Blightchunk and Risen Dragon. Relentless Hunger is when the green slime enrage a creature and increasing its melee damage by 50% for 10 seconds. Blight Spew is when the dragon spits green puddle on a player's location. If you get hit, you get stunned for 1.5 seconds and take a big hit. While you fight him, he pulls AoE nature damage every 2 seconds with Necrotic Outburst. The third boss is Blight of Galakrond, and it's a 3-phase fight. Corrosive Infusion is the main ability of the fight and persists to all 3 phases. It casts Corrosive Infusion on a players and giving them corrosion, a nature damage dot. If you fail to remove this corrosion within 14 seconds, you become mind control for 6 seconds. The idea is to give it to the tank before Blight Reclamation, which is a frontal on the tank that removes the corrosion. At 80%, you move to phase 2. You still have to do the corrosion mechanic, and on top of that, you have to move from the necrotic winds. If you get hit, it knocks back and damage you. At 50% you get to the third phase and you fight 2 dragons. The Frost Dragon is movable and the Fire Dragon moves on his own. You should try and tank them together for cleave. The Fire Dragon spits noxious ejection on random players. Incinerating Blight Breath is a frontal on random location. Stand behind the Fire Dragon to avoid it. The Frost Dragon casts Necrofrost on a player, which reduces haste by 5% and deals damage until destroyed. Next is the last part of the dungeon. Galakrond's creation casts Stonebolt, a nasty dot you should interrupt. Galakrond is the last boss of the dungeon. He will try to destroy Chromie and we need to protect her. Extinction Blast is a big radius nature damage. Use Chromie's timeline protection to reduce the damage. On Stonecracker Barrage, the whole group should stand on Chromie and soak the damage. The tank should go to the small soak in front of the group. Make sure you stay inside cause the hit knocks you. Move from the air surge spikes and break his shield to stop the mechanic. Pulverizing Creation is a frontal that spawns 2 heads after impact. Interrupt their cast and finish them. At 100% energy, the boss casts Cataclysmic Obliteration that deals AoE damage every 1.5 seconds. Enter inside Chromie's barrier, which empowers you and increase your damage. Break the boss shield to finish the fight and get your loot. Make sure to check the rest of my guides. I'll upload advanced guides for Mythic Plus I keys soon. Thank you for watching. Peace.